Welcome, good people. Welcome to another episode of Live at 5, presented by Peep Game TV. I'm your man, SRD, and I have a special guest with me, my man, Watley Bay, who brought to my attention this information that I be sharing with you on a daily basis. So I want to try to wait until some of you come in. I see nobody's on right now, so I want to try to wait and give you guys a chance to come in because this information is real crucial. Okay, we got somebody on. Okay, that's what's up. All right. So, yeah, we really want to get this information out because it's totally necessary for us to really understand what we're dealing with and how we have been in our own way unknowingly by accepting the identity of calling ourselves black. And when I have my main man 100 grand on here, he and I go back and forth with this issue. But when we really look at the issue, peace, peace, PCH, how you? And we go back and forth with this issue about us recognizing ourselves as Moors compared to identifying ourselves as black. And when we really look at it, we can actually be able to weed out why we should kind of put black to the side. Because, first of all, my belief is what we're doing each and every time we acknowledge ourselves as black, we are helping with the racism, which is really being, really disguised the colonism. We've been thinking that we've been being attacked based on the complexion of our skin, and we've really been being attacked based on our identity of being the true owners or the first to be here on this territory of Morocco, which America resides. This is what's been happening, and many of us have been kind of left in the dust because we were unaware that we were residing in Morocco because we were told that we were brought here 400 years ago on ships from Africa. And this is what divided us from being able to claim our birthright of being Moroccan Moors and being able to understand that the land we reside in, this territory, is really the empire of Morocco. And we are reestablishing that at this point because we all know, those of us who have been identifying as black for years, that America is not, will not, and won't ever grant us equality under their laws. We already know it. I mean, we can talk about Black Lives Matter with George Floyd and how Black Lives Matters with all the marching and everything, and Biden, it was used to help Biden get into office. And soon as Biden got into office, he didn't pass the legislation for the George Floyd Act. He then passed a legislation for anti-Asians. So numerous of times we get slapped in the face as so-called black people on a number of occasions. Now, Biden is doing his rally to rally those of us who identify as black to vote for him now, when in reality, what we need to be doing is reestablishing or filling the empty seats of our Moroccan government. That's what needs to be done, and that's what we need to begin working on to get to a state where we protected by a state and we don't have to face America as an individual. We begin to face America state to state rather than individual to state. Many people who are out here in this land or territory of Morocco where America resides in are being misconstrued or just completely flat out lied to about what's going on. Today I have my man Watley Bay on because I want to clarify some rumors of I've been hearing that, people Moors are being basically belligerent because what happens is even though Moor is our birthright, we have been naturalized by America. Basically, we've been adopted by America. So it's going to be a process for us to become unnaturalized and be accepted back by our state. So I want to let him kind of speak on that about what is the process of coming back to Morocco after being naturalized by America. Brother Bay, if you will.
Right. Right. First of all, I appreciate you inviting me on the show, giving me the opportunity to let the people know what's been going on. Unfortunately, we as a collective have been fooled into believing that we are an American, Black Americans, um, thinking that because not knowing our true identity, who we really are. That information was strategically kept from us. And since we're in their jurisdiction, the United States of America's jurisdiction, we went through all their educational institutions from day one. So they had an opportunity to literally brainwash us from inception. And I say from inception because 9 times out of 10, uh, the mother that you were in her womb, she was also indoctrinated. So she inadvertently passed that information on to you while you were still in the womb. So we have been extensively brainwashed, indoctrinated in the mythology of America. Just wanted to make that point. Uh, Now, the process, there's several ways that you can approach this. The way that I recommend, since a lot of us are starting from scratch as far as um, we've been um, told one thing, and unfortunately, it was something totally different. So we already have a state of mind that is inducive to colonialism. That was by design. So what you're going to have to do is deprogram yourself because you've been extensively programmed by the colonizers. Okay, and that's a process too. But what I would recommend uh, from from the very start is to start checking out the impact study sessions. That will give you a good footing into what's going on. And we're up to 145 um, study sessions so far. And so you can start from the number one and work your way all the way up to 145. That will give you a good idea explaining the process. After going through those 145 impact study sessions, you will have a good idea uh, as to the process that you have to go through in order to become a Moroccan Moor. Um, there's so many reference points that you would be directed to that you would be able to make it. You would be able to make an informed decision based on that information. So that would be the best way of breaking the spell that you unknowingly been on for, depending on your age, since the very beginning.
Okay. Now those study sessions are on YouTube, and I was actually watching one today that I
Mm,
think that I actually think would be profound for anybody who's watching now to just check that one out if because originally I started from one on up, but it'll give an individual a great idea of what we're dealing with and what they're going to have to do to get to be where they need to be, and a clear understanding. I was watching study session 132. You could go to my Facebook page. It's called Live at 5. Peak Game TV Live at 5 on Facebook. You could go there and you can see it, or you could go to the YouTube, put in AMPAC study session 132 and watch that. Take time to watch that, and it'll give you some, more than likely, some motivating and unbelievable information that will have you look at yourself in the mirror and see a different image of yourself. And when you start hearing people utilize calling you black, it'll make you feel different about hearing people call you that word. Because what it does and what it's been doing is basically hypnotizing us to stay on a level, even though we make progress. But the progress that we're making still keeps us at a disadvantage when it comes to political, economic, and social standards of being able to meet as a equal when it comes to America. We are still striving to get to a point where, as so-called black people, be on an equal footing far as having our own. We as a people say uh black businesses, you know, black entertainment, black movies. We think about it when you're saying this. Think about, why do we have to emphasize black as much as we do, in the meaning of who are we trying to prove that we're black to? It's like we're trying to prove to somebody that we're black when they've given us that label after it's been used in a positive form. They twisted it to a negative form, and now that negative form follows us, that we are trying to restore it in a manner to make it look what become what it used to mean. When the reality is, we have a nationality that our ancestors have left for us, and we have a birthright of a land that was left to us that we have a right to, and our right is to be able to govern ourselves and deal with America the way America has been dealing with us, and in a point where we get the chance to tax America. We get the chance to put our laws against America's laws and let them have to figure out what they need to do rather than us having to abide by their laws, and we have to figure out how to maneuver through their laws when they put laws in place that most times put us in a stringent position or put us in a position where we're unable to rise above a certain level.
My
So
brother,
go ahead. Go ahead,
let
my
me
brother.
let me put that black identity in the proper perspective. We have to understand that the Europeans, the colonizers that are now being identified as Americans, controlled the dialogue. Webster's dictionary, all those dictionaries are made by them. So they were able to define words. For you Christians out there, it's no different than when God gave Adam the authority to name the animals. That's a very powerful authority to name things. And that's what they did. They named us and they defined those names. Now, when you look at the Webster Dictionary or any dictionary, you look up the word black and it will give you the meaning of the word. And then we are so thirsty for an identity. Our logic was, well, since they are calling themselves white, why don't we call ourselves black? Well, that's the setup because if you look in the dictionary for the definition of white, it's everything positive. When you look at the definition of black, it's everything negative. So why would you name yourself by a negative connotation? Because before you were identified as being black, black was already defined. And now that's one perspective. Another perspective is black in political science means death, means that politically, when you refer yourself as black in the court of law, what you're saying is that you are dead and a dead person is not recognized. So when you go into the court system as a black person, that's code to say that this person is dead and we don't have to recognize any of his rights. That's the reason why you had to, in order to be represented in the court, you had to obtain one of their lawyers, okay? And they speak for you because politically you're dead. And if you're dead, we know that dead people don't talk. And so that's why you have a spokesperson. Now, a person that knows this and comes in the courtroom not as a black person, but as a human being, as a living flesh and blood human being, and the court recognize that, they can represent themselves because they're not dead, because they know that they're not black. That's in their system. That's how they set up their system. Now, here's the flip side, and I got this from Dr. Amos Wilson, a renowned psychiatrist. You see, when you have your own system, your own political system, your own jurisdiction. You can name yourself whatever you want to, because that's the power of having your own jurisdiction. See, when you have your own jurisdiction, you can have your own language, and no one outside of your jurisdiction can say anything because it's your jurisdiction, it's your zone, and they're not able to enter. You see what I'm saying? And so
You broke up. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Now,
you can have definitions to define the meaning of your of having your own state. That's the advantage of establishing your own jurisdiction, because you establish your own rules, and those outside of your state can't interfere at all.
so go into more about putting a state together. Let the people understand, one, why a state isn't so important, and two, how to go about putting a state together.
Well, the reason why a state is so important, and particularly the the Moroccan Empire, is, first of all, it's our state. It was the state that the indigenous people of the world created. And out of that state came other states, to include all the European states. So all the European states are subordinate to the Moroccan Empire. That's the main reason. It's ours. And
Subordinate, when you say subordinate, what do you mean by subordinate? When you say subordinate?
means that all the other states are inferior, are politically inferior to the Moroccan Empire. They we are superior to all of the European states.
So so
Because
what so what you're saying to the people, that the Moroccan Empire was the first true government prior to the government that we're being governed by now.
that's correct.
Okay.
Uh, if you were familiar with your history, you would know that, like I said, all the other European states came out of our state, which is called the Moroccan Empire. And that's why when we fill those vacant government seats, it will reactivate the political power that the Moroccan Empire has. And those European states will have to secede. They will have to obey the laws, the Moroccan laws that governs them. That's
So
why that's
so
why it's so important
so
for this.
basically what you're telling the people
Uh-huh.
is, by putting a state together, it gives us the political power that they now have over us.
Well, we don't even have to put it together. We have to restore it. It's already put together. It's just that it has no nationals to run it.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
why you
so
see.
so what you're saying is, right now in all 50 states, there are empty seats waiting for Moroccan nationals to fill those seats in order to revive those states. That's what you're saying.
That's correct. Uh,
Okay.
the Moroccan empire hasn't went nowhere. Just like the territories, the land hasn't went nowhere. What unfortunately went was the people. And where
Okay.
did they go? They went over to the United States of America. If you're in these neck of the woods, if you're over there overseas, if you were in Great Britain, then they went to Great Britain. You know, if you were in Spain, they went to Spain. You know, you have to understand that the Moors populated this entire planet, so we're all over the place. And so depending on where you're physically located at will determine your naturalization.
Okay. So based on the location of the land, whether it's Canada, whether it's Germany, whether it's Great Britain, whether it's London, wherever you at, you're more, but you've been naturalized, or we like to use adopted by that particular foreign country. And
Well, the terminology that we use, and it's coming strictly out of the treaties, literature, and so forth, is naturalization. Is another way of saying that you have been adopted by another state since you left your state. So you have became stateless. And so since you have no state to claim and no state is claiming you, then you became stateless. And when you're stateless, another state can adopt you. And that's being naturalized. And that's what unfortunately most of us have become.
okay, so basically, our landmass would be similar to being our mothers, and
Yeah.
we left our mothers and was picked up by another mother, and our father was our government, and the government was a foreign government too. So when we was taken by our mothers and our and fathers to an adopted parents, we left our parents, and now our inheritance is waiting for us, but we have to return to our parents.
Here's a spin to that. See, we never left the land. That's the key point. We never left physically the land. What happened that they created another jurisdiction. You see what I'm saying? And we left our jurisdiction and went into their jurisdiction. But both jurisdiction resides on the same land. That's why when you come back home to the Moroccan Empire, it doesn't require you to leave, physically leave this landmass. It requires you to mentally and politically leave, you see? But physically, you still reside on this landmass, regardless if you are an adopted American or you come back to be a Moroccan national. It has nothing to do with the physical territory itself. And let me clarify something, because a lot of people, when you say Morocco, they're automatically assuming North Africa, the Morocco, the kingdom
Kingdom
of
of
Morocco,
Morocco.
which
Okay.
is in North Africa. See, that was only the case. The only reason why I qualify when I say Morocco is because of the fact that in 1956, the Sultan stepped down as the Sultan of the Moorish Empire and became the king of the Kingdom of Morocco, which is only in North Africa. I'm not talking, when I say Morocco, I'm never talking about the kingdom of Morocco. Morocco. I'm always talking about the Moroccan.
Empire, the empire of Morocco. Okay.
Yes, and that's why the kingdom of Morocco in North Africa is located in the Moorish Empire, the Moroccan Empire.
Okay. Okay. Now, for the individuals who want to learn how to are in a state and they want to make to reestablish their state, what do they have to do to start reestablishing their state, to fill the empty seats of the states they're in right now? What do they have to do?
Well, I would recommend that you get in contact with the Wazir Regional Council. That is the council of all the recognized Moroccan states. And they can tell you if we have a Moroccan state that has either already been recognized by other Moroccan states or they're in the process of becoming recognized as a Moroccan state. And you can get that information from the AMPAC study sessions.
So they could reach the Wazir Regional Council and ask them if their state is already in the been is a Moroccan state or in the process of being a Moroccan state. And if it isn't being in the process, if they're in a state that is not yet uh, gotten to the point where it's being reestablished, how does that work?
Uh, if they're more than just interested, but they want to actually get involved, then if they're in a territory that has not been uh, established by anybody, then they could be the first point of contact. And all they would need is a minimum of 5 people, and that would be uh, the wazir that represents the executive branch. You would need a Siraraha, which is the Speaker of the House. That's the legislative branch. And then the Kazir, Kazi, which is the chief judge for the judicial branch. And then you would need um, what is it? A counselor court and I'm drawing a blank. There's one other office. There's one other office that you would need as a minimum. So that's 5 uh, positions that you would need. 5 people to fill those 5 positions to start a Moroccan state.
Okay, to reestablish a Moroccan state. So that's five positions that need to reestablish a Moroccan state.
That's correct.
Okay, and then okay, now we're telling you this, people, because in order for us to get to where many of us are really have been striving and pushing to get to, and we know that we're capable of being there. We're it's it's a necessity. It's a requirement that we're take the steps, the necessary steps to do what needs to be done. But the most crucial one going to be is to start ridding our thought pattern of what we've been told and taught that have kept us away from being able to do this sooner, because many of us have gotten to the point where we have accepted this foreign government as the government that should be in place, which is no good for us. And that's something it's gonna take some time for many of us to recognize that no matter what we do or how we try to do it, this government that is in place now, it's never going to work for our advantage. Point in question. When it comes to us being able to have certain things such as banks, when it comes to having insurance companies, when it comes to owning airports, coliseums, things of that nature, when it comes to being able to supply jobs for our people, we're going to be at a limit because we would have to go to the government for permission to get permits to do things that we want to do. Whereas by reestablishing our own states, we don't need their permission to reestablish those things. We will go to our own government for the permits to make these things happen. So this is why it's so important for us to recognize first that black is something that is holding us back. We have to recognize that, accept it, and start promoting that, and be willing to be addressed by people when they give you the pushback of why black is supposedly so good for us. When we all know that when we talk about black, most time we're talking about stuff that we lack, not stuff that we actually have, stuff that we lack. So we can take the B off of black and just put lack, and really understand that why it's keeping us back, and why now more so than ever this foreign government is trying to push it down our throats and trying to get us to keep acknowledging ourselves as that, so that we will be separated and looked at in a manner that they have designed for us to be looked at. This is why when me and Big Muzz go back and forth, and he says that we black is what holds us together. No, black separates us because when people come here, they come here with a notion of what the foreign America gives them about who we are. This is why we have so much difficulty connecting with other people whom look like us when they come here. When they come here to this country, because they look at us like, what's wrong with these people who've been here for all these years and they're still struggling as a people, not as individuals, but as a collective. This is the purpose that we do this, so that we can get past that struggle and start to progress. Go ahead, Brother Bay.
Yeah. The other position, the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Okay,
That's
so the five, can you name the five for us again? Five positions that people would need to reestablish their can you name them for us again? Five
yeah,
positions?
no problem. It's the it's the Wazir, which is the head of state for the executive branch, the Raha, which is Speaker of the House for the legislative branch. And I might add that the Raha, which is the legislative branch, is headed up by all women. So we're going back to the uh, matriarchal system And we're honoring our ancestors by honoring our mothers, honoring our women in the legislative branch. So, in order for you to be a part of the legislative branch, you must be a woman. You must be a female. And that's going back to, our old ancestor tradition of our matriarchal system. I wanted to point that out. Then you have our Kazi, which is the chief, uh, the chief law person or the chief judge that heads up the judicial branch. Then you have the consular general, and then you have the minister of foreign affairs. So those are the five key positions needed to reestablish the Moroccan Empire, one of the Moroccan states. And also, I like to add that we have to understand the power that a state has. And that power is called sovereignty. You see, as a human being, as an individual, you're not sovereign, okay? But as a state, the state is sovereign. And when you are a part of a state, since you are a part of the state, then you become sovereign as a result of being uh, under the state. And so the state has the power, and no one can penetrate the state because of its sovereignty. And so now you are a national, Moroccan national.
Hey, Brother Bay, for those who may not have really heard what sovereign mean, can you kind of do a little breakdown of what sovereign means to those individuals so that they understand what sovereign mean? They may have heard it, but really didn't know the definition.
My pleasure, my brother.
Okay.
So happen to have that definition.
Okay, thank you.
Because this definition is key. Because understanding this definition and the power of a sovereign state will tell you why we need to reestablish ours. Okay. Sovereignty. The supreme, absolute, and uncontrollable power by which any independent state is governed. Supreme political authority. Paramount control of the Constitution and frame of government in its administration. The self-sufficient source of political power from which all specific political power.
You froze up there, brother. He froze up.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's. Let me see. Where did I leave off at? It's the source of political power from which all specific political powers are derived. The international independence of a state. The international independence of a state, combined with the right and power of regulating its internal affairs without foreign dictation. Also, a political society or state which is sovereign and independent. the power to do everything in a state without accountability, to make laws, to execute and to apply them, to impose and collect taxes and levy contributions, to make war and peace, to form treaties of alliance or of commerce with foreign nations and the like. What I would highly recommend you to do is to go to the fourth edition of the Black Laws Dictionary and look up the word sovereignty. And then compare the Moorish or the Moroccan Empire, our state, which will have all those
Rights.
say what, brother?
Rights. Those rights.
Right, all those rights, and then compare the United States of America and how does the United States of America fare with the definition of sovereignty? You'll find out that they're doing a lousy job when you know the power of sovereignty and the power of what a state has. Now, the United States of America can offer you all that I just spoke about. But see, since we're an adopted American, we're given privileges. You see what I'm saying? We're given privileges. We're not given rights. And we're not being protected from our human rights, which the Moroccan state does. We're given legislatively civil rights, something that this state, the United States of America, came up to really appease us. You see, to kind of to make sure that uh, we would settle for civil rights as opposed to demanding our human rights. But you can't really demand your human rights in a state that adopted you. You have to go with what they created. That's why it's necessary to come back to your mother state. Come back, you have a state. Yeah, in the beginning you didn't know. So yeah, it's like Cinderella. You didn't know. It's like the Wizard of Oz. You didn't know. You left Kansas. You you left you left Morocco, and you went to the land of Oz. You went to the land of the United States of America. And you didn't know how to get back. And then the good witch of the West shared with you how to get back to Kansas, how to get back to your homeland, to Morocco. And in the Wizard of Oz, what, she had to click her heels 3 times, right? Right? And say there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Well, in Morocco, you got to establish 3 branches of government.
Okay. All right. Now, for the people, when you said privileges, I wanted the people to realize, like, when you say privileges, like driving is a privilege.
Right.
Driver's license is a privilege. It's not a right. It's
Right.
not something that you have a right to do. You
Right.
know, and when it comes to us having human rights, being that many individuals knew or know that those of us who identify as Black or African or whatever, we were the first people to be on the planet. So if we were the first people to be on the planet, then doesn't it make sense for us to be, as you said in that definition, sovereign? For us to be the ones who basically calling the shots for ourselves. This is what I want people to understand and really see, that for us as a people, it's our human right, it's our natural existence to be able to call the shots, to govern ourselves without having to answer to another people.
You see, when we, being that we are the first people on this planet, okay, and we established the first state, okay, um, the Moroccan Empire, right? And when we established the Moroccan Empire, it was sovereign over all other states that came after. That's the importance, and that's the power that the Moroccan Empire has over all other states, to include the United States of America. Now, what the colonists, and keep in mind, who created the United States of America, it was those individuals that mainly came from Great Britain, right? And they came over here with the permission of the Sultan of Morocco. That's how they got over here, okay? And so they had an opportunity to co-inhabitate with us, but they chose to do what they did. They chose to become colonists, and they chose to, first of all, colonize us, and then second of all, they were so successful in doing that to
You
us.
we I hate to interrupt you. We running out
Yes.
of time. We're running out of time. I would
Uh,
really like for you to pick up on that if you can some other time, uh, tomorrow, Wednesday, whenever you can. From
sure.
that point of us being the first ones here, and us having the dominant call of being sovereign over everyone, and how the colonizers came in. That's what I would like for you to start off with for the next show. Basically, so that people can understand that we were here with the government prior to America coming here, and we were all over the planet with the government prior to other states coming there, and what happened and how we get back to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Real quickly, basically, they tricked us into leaving the Garden of Eden, and we went into the wilderness.
Okay, you gave me a you gave me a good reference for that for the use for the next show. Uh, thank you all, and thank you, brother Babe, for taking the time out to give us some of your wisdom and give us a clear understanding of how to reestablish our statehood. Uh, Hopefully, we can have you back tomorrow or Wednesday so that we can pick up on this, because people, this is truly important for us to get. If we don't get this, we stay where we at and how we are. And I know most of you are tired of being where we at and where we are right now. So until the next time, show love the way you would like to receive love. And I say peace.
Peace.